If you are on the twin flame journey, you may be wondering why everything feels harder right before union is supposed to happen. Instead of closeness, life seems to strip things away. Relationships unravel. Old attachments resurface only to fall apart. Emotional patterns you thought were healed suddenly demand your attention again. You might feel confused, exhausted, or even doubtful, asking yourself, why does reunion feel like loss? Why does love trigger collapse instead of comfort? This is the moment many souls misunderstand the path. They assume something has gone wrong, when in truth, something very precise is unfolding. In this video, we will break down one of the most misunderstood stages of the twin flame journey, the clearing that must occur before true union. As a psychologist with deep spiritual insight, I will help you understand why reunion does not arrive suddenly or romantically, but through a deliberate phase of deconstruction. We will explore how meeting your twin flame activates the dismantling of karmic bonds, unresolved contracts, and emotional patterns that no longer align with your highest path. You will learn the crucial difference between karma and dharma, and why twin flames can only unite through truth, integrity, and alignment, not repetition of old wounds. By the end of this video, you will no longer fear what is falling away in your life. You will recognize this phase not as punishment, delay, or failure, but as preparation. You will gain clarity about why discomfort often precedes union, why loss can be a sign of alignment, and why the clearing you are experiencing is not separating you from love, but making love possible. This understanding will shift you from anxiety into grounded awareness, from longing into self-trust, and from confusion into calm certainty. If you stay until the end, you may realize that what you are living through right now is not the end of the journey, but the doorway into something real, stable, and finally free. Section 1. Why karma must be resolved before reunion. Before true and lasting reunion can occur, many twin flames enter a profound phase of unraveling. This is often the stage where karmic relationships around you begin to loosen, collapse, or come to an end. These connections may appear as friendships, family bonds, romantic ties, or long-standing emotional entanglements that have carried unfinished lessons from this lifetime or even from others. At first, this unraveling can feel confusing or even painful, as though everything familiar is being questioned at once. But this process is not random, and it is not punishment, it is preparation. The moment you meet your twin flame, dormant karma is activated. The bond acts like a mirror and an accelerant, bringing unresolved patterns, debts, wounds, and imbalances to the surface. What once lay hidden beneath routine or avoidance can no longer remain unconscious. Karma rises not to harm you, but to be seen, understood, and resolved. It demands accountability, healing, and energetic closure. This is why the twin flame journey often feels so intense it does not allow bypassing. Anything unresolved will eventually ask for your attention. Divine union cannot coexist with karmic residue. Love at this level requires clarity, integrity, and energetic cleanliness. If old attachments, unhealed wounds, or distorted obligations are still active, they interfere with the stability and truth of the bond. Reunion is not simply about two souls coming together emotionally. It is about two beings standing in alignment with truth. That alignment requires that past lessons be integrated, not carried forward unconsciously. Twin flames reunite only through Dharma. Dharma is alignment with divine truth, divine timing, and divine responsibility. It means choosing honesty over comfort, growth over attachment, and integrity over familiarity. It means taking responsibility for your healing rather than expecting the bond to compensate for what has not been resolved. In this phase, the universe is not asking for perfection, it is asking for completion. Nothing unresolved can follow you into this next chapter. Reunion is not an escape from karma. It is what becomes possible once karma has been honored, learned from, and released. When the lessons are integrated, when balance is restored, and when responsibility is embraced, the path opens naturally. Not because you chased it, but because you became ready to stand in it. Before we move into the next stage, take a moment to pause and feel what this message stirred within you. Notice which relationships came to mind, which patterns you recognized, and where you felt resistance or clarity in your body. This journey is not meant to be rushed or intellectualized, it is meant to be felt and integrated. Reflection is where real transformation begins. If this resonates with you, I invite you to leave a comment and share what surfaced for you while listening, or simply type, "I choose completion before union," as a quiet declaration to your soul and the universe. Acknowledging where you are is already part of the healing, and it prepares you for what comes next. Section 2. Family Karma and Ancestral Healing. At this stage of the journey, family dynamics often rise to the surface with surprising intensity. Issues that once felt dormant or manageable suddenly ask to be seen more clearly. Old wounds connected to parents, siblings, children, or even long-past ancestors may reappear through conversations, conflicts, memories, or emotional triggers you thought you had already outgrown. This is not coincidence, and it is not regression, it is timing. From a psychological and spiritual perspective, this is the soul entering a phase of deeper integration. Family karma surfaces when your consciousness has matured enough to hold it without collapse. These patterns do not emerge to punish you or delay your path, but to offer resolution where fragmentation once lived. What was unconscious now seeks awareness. What was inherited now seeks choice. Many people try to bypass this stage by focusing only on romantic union or spiritual ascension, but the nervous system does not allow true elevation, while ancestral tension remains unresolved. The family system is the first energetic structure we ever inhabited. It shapes attachment, safety, identity, and the way love is given and received. If there are unhealed dynamics here, they echo quietly beneath every intimate bond. You may notice yourself being asked to set boundaries you were never allowed to set before, or to speak truths that were once silenced. You may feel grief for what you did not receive, compassion for what others could not give, or clarity about cycles that must end with you. This is ancestral healing in motion. When one conscious individual chooses awareness over repetition, the entire lineage shifts. It is important to understand that you are not meant to skip these lessons. You are meant to move through them consciously, with presence rather than avoidance. Healing family karma does not mean blaming or fixing others. It means releasing unconscious loyalty to pain, dissolving inherited guilt, and choosing a new emotional posture rooted in self-respect and truth. As these patterns resolve, something subtle but powerful happens within your energy field. The inner chaos quiets. The push-pull between longing and fear begins to stabilize. Your system learns safety without contraction. This restoration of energetic balance is not optional for higher levels of love. It is foundational. Only when the family system no longer pulls at your nervous system can your energy stabilize at the level required for union. Not a union based on wounds recognizing wounds, but one grounded in clarity, maturity, and choice. This stage is not a detour from your divine path. It is the clearing that allows you to walk it fully, anchored, and free. Imagine a woman who has always been the emotional stabilizer in her family. From a young age, she learned to stay quiet, to keep peace, to carry responsibility that was never hers, and to translate love into endurance. On her spiritual journey, she believed union would arrive once she healed herself enough. Yet just as she began to feel ready, an old family dynamic resurfaced, a parent demanding emotional access without accountability, a familiar pull toward guilt and obligation. Instead of reverting to silence, she paused. She noticed how her body tightened, how her breath shortened, how the same childhood pattern tried to reclaim her nervous system. This time, she chose differently. She spoke calmly but firmly. She set a boundary without apology. The moment was not dramatic, but it was decisive. In that choice, she ended a generational cycle of self-erasure. And something profound followed. Her energy settled. The constant ache to be chosen softened. Her relationship stopped mirroring abandonment and overgiving. This is how ancestral healing becomes visible, not through grand gestures, but through one conscious moment where love is no longer traded for survival. Section 3. Karmic Partners and Relationship Completion. For many souls, karmic romantic relationships appear before the twin flame encounter, not as detours, but as necessary classrooms for the heart. These connections are not mistakes. They are purposeful bonds designed to surface patterns, wounds, attachments, and lessons that the soul must fully experience and integrate. A karmic relationship often teaches you how you love, where you abandon yourself, what you tolerate, and what still seeks healing within you. Because of this, karmic ties cannot simply be discarded the moment a twin flame enters your awareness. You cannot exit a karmic relationship merely because you have met your twin. Doing so would only bypass the lesson and recreate the karma in another form. The cycle must reach its own point of completion through conscious growth, emotional maturation, or the clear realization that the relationship no longer aligns with who you have become. Completion is not an impulsive decision. It is an organic unfolding that occurs when the soul has extracted everything it came to learn. True completion happens when the relationship dissolves energetically, when it no longer functions, nourishes, or resonates at the level it once did. This is very different from abandonment. Abandonment is driven by avoidance, guilt, fantasy, or escape. Completion, by contrast, is quiet, grounded, and neutral. There is no dramatic severing, no resentment, no urgency to flee. Instead, there is a calm knowing, this chapter has fulfilled its purpose. And only through this kind of natural dissolution can karmic bonds be cleared without creating new karmic entanglements. This same principle applies within the twin flame dynamic itself. When twins meet, it is common for one or both to still carry unresolved karmic energy from past relationships, family imprints, ancestral wounds, or previous lifetimes. The twin flame does not bypass this karma, it amplifies it. The connection acts as a mirror, bringing all unresolved material to the surface so it can be seen, balanced, and healed. Before true union can stabilize, this karmic energy must be brought into harmony. That does not mean perfection, but it does require accountability, inner rectification, and emotional responsibility. If karma remains unresolved, the twin flame bond cannot anchor safely. It will oscillate, destabilize, or retreat not as punishment, but as protection. From a psychological and spiritual perspective, this phase is not about delay, it is about readiness. Union is not blocked by time, fate, or external circumstances. It is governed by energetic coherence. And coherence can only exist when past cycles have been honored, completed, and consciously released. When that happens, both karmic ties and twin flame energy shift naturally into a new, stable state, one rooted not in longing or imbalance, but in clarity, alignment, and truth. Section 4. Balancing all life structures. Karmic clearing is not confined to romantic or familial bonds alone. From a psychological and spiritual perspective, karma moves through every structure of life. It includes business partnerships, professional roles, financial arrangements, friendships, creative collaborations, social identities, and even unspoken obligations you continue to carry out of loyalty, fear, or habit. Each of these connections holds energetic agreements, and each agreement must come into balance. Every area of life must be brought back into proportion and right relationship. That means examining where energy is leaking, where boundaries are weak, where obligations are maintained out of guilt rather than truth, and where identity has become entangled with roles that no longer reflect who you are becoming. Union does not occur in a fragmented life. It requires internal coherence, and coherence cannot exist when parts of your life are misaligned, unresolved, or operating in contradiction to one another. Nothing can remain unfinished. Not because the universe demands perfection, but because unaddressed energy creates distortion. Anything unresolved continues to pull attention, drain vitality, and fragment focus. Every relationship, responsibility, and role must find its proper place, not inflated, not diminished, not avoided. This is what energetic order looks like. Clarity about what you are responsible for, what you are no longer meant to carry, and what must be consciously completed or restructured. Union requires transparency, not only with another, but with yourself. It requires integrity, meaning your inner values and outer actions are aligned. It requires energetic order, meaning your life is organized around truth rather than avoidance. When there are hidden entanglements, unspoken agreements, or half-lived commitments, the system remains unstable. Love cannot anchor where life is divided. Unhealed energy cannot be carried into divine union. This is not punishment, it is protection. Divine union amplifies everything it touches. If imbalance is present, it magnifies imbalance. If clarity is present, it magnifies clarity. That is why there must be restoration across all grids of life: emotional, relational, financial, vocational, psychological, and spiritual. This stage often feels less romantic and more sobering. It asks for responsibility, maturity, and honest self-audit. But it is here that true readiness is forged. When clarity replaces chaos, balance replaces overextension, and order replaces fragmentation, the soul becomes a stable vessel. And only from that stability can union emerge not as longing or fantasy, but as a grounded, sustainable reality rooted in truth. If you have made it this far, pause for a moment and feel what is settling inside you. This part of the journey is not about information, it is about recognition. You may be noticing how many areas of your life have been quietly asking for order, honesty, and completion. Let this awareness land gently. You do not need to fix everything at once. Awareness itself is the beginning of alignment. Take a breath and reflect on where balance is being restored in your life, or where it is still calling for your attention. If you feel guided, share your experience in the comments. Your story may be the mirror someone else needs. Or, if words feel heavy right now, simply type "write the specific sentence clearly" as an affirmation of your readiness for clarity, integrity, and energetic balance. This moment of conscious reflection is not small. It is proof that something within you is reorganizing in preparation for what comes next. Section 5. Entering the Dharmic Grids. As the old karmic structures begin to dissolve, something far more stable and intelligent comes online beneath the surface of your life. These are the Dharmic Grids, energetic pathways, built not on repetition and pain, but on love, peace, and harmony. You may not notice them arrive with drama. Instead, you feel a quiet recalibration taking place. Situations that once kept you trapped in imbalance begin to lose their grip. Patterns that thrived on distortion, misunderstanding, or emotional struggle start correcting themselves without force. This is not because you are trying harder. It is because the lesson has been integrated. Where karma demanded repetition until awareness was reached, Dharma activates once understanding has matured. What once pulled you into conflict now gently redirects you toward clarity. What once felt chaotic now begins to organize itself around truth. The undoing happens naturally, as if life itself is cooperating with your growth. This stage marks a return to right relationship, not just with other people, but with existence as a whole. You begin to meet others without the unconscious need to heal them, save them, or replay unfinished stories. Your relationship with life softens, resistance fades, trust deepens. And perhaps most importantly, you return to right relationship with yourself. The inner division between who you are and who you thought you had to be starts to close. Psychologically, this is integration. Spiritually, it is alignment. You are no longer operating from fragmented identities shaped by survival, fear, or unhealed memory. You step back into coherence, into wholeness, into resonance with your higher intelligence. In this alignment, your God self, the aspect of you that sees clearly, chooses wisely, and moves without force, comes back online. Your divine destiny does not appear as a sudden revelation, but as a steady sense of inner knowing. Decisions feel cleaner, directions feel obvious. You are no longer guessing your way forward. The path ahead becomes clear not because life is predictable, but because you are finally aligned with it. And when alignment is restored, movement no longer feels like struggle. It feels like remembrance. Twin flame union is not something you chase into existence, and it is not something you earn through suffering. It arrives only when truth has replaced illusion, when every karmic thread has been acknowledged, and when each relationship in your life stands in its proper place. Union does not form in confusion. It forms in clarity. When the energetic field is finally clear, union becomes possible not through longing, control, or willpower, but through harmony. It happens when both souls are no longer negotiating with fear, no longer compensating for wounds, and no longer trying to use love as a substitute for healing. At that point, love is no longer heavy. It is steady. It no longer destabilizes the nervous system. It grounds it. This is why the journey demands patience, honesty, and deep inner work. Not to delay you, but to prepare you. Divine union is not an escape from life, pain, or responsibility. It is the moment when life itself returns to balance, when love no longer asks you to abandon yourself, when connection no longer requires sacrifice of truth, when both souls can finally meet without distortion. And whether union manifests externally or completes internally first, the lesson is the same. Wholeness precedes togetherness. When you are aligned within yourself, union no longer feels urgent. It feels natural. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to leave a comment below and clearly write a specific quote. Let that statement anchor what you are integrating right now. And if this video brought you clarity, please like it, share it with someone who may be walking this path, and continue your journey with us by watching the video below. You are not late. You are not failing. You are becoming ready.